busy schedule, Mr. Vinny Lingham. I've known Vinny since like 23 years now. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, probably around there.
Yeah. So Vinny Lingham is a serial entrepreneur. I'm going to go through a quick list of things he's done just to kind of like, let people know who they're talking to. So between the years of 1996 and 2003, he did a bunch of crap nobody cares about because he hadn't met me yet, and I gave him guidance, and then he went on his way. So 2003, he founded Incubator, a marketing group. 2003, also Clicks to Customers, a search marketing firm. 2006, he got the Young ICT Entrepreneur Award in South Africa. 2006, he got the High Impact Entrepreneur Award, Endeavor. 2007, he started Yola, which was originally called Synthesite, which was like Wix, but it was his thing. 2009, Silicon Cape Town Startup Network. 2009, he was listed among people like Mark Zuckerberg in the Young Global Leader Forum. 2012, Gift, the mobile gift cards app. Gift Exit. Civic, blockchain identity firm. Dragon's Den, he was, it was like Shark Tank. He was on that, and then he was on Shark Tank in South Africa. In 2017, Multicoin Capital, a crypto fund partner. 2017 to 2020, just as early crypto bets, Solana, Filecoin, Render. 2020, Wait Room, short meeting platform. 2023, Roomy.ai, AI meetings rebrand. 2024, Praxos Capital, crypto hedge fund. And in 2025, he made an animal documentary about the carnivore diet, which is funny because all three of us have something in common. We were all vegan at some point and then went carnivore.
We all realize how bad it is for you.
I was
I do
vegan.
like fruit though. I like fruit.
Yeah. Well, plants can't eat you, so they have to kill you with lectins and stuff.
But they want you to eat the fruit because they want you to spread the seeds. but I don't eat vegetables. So.
At all.
Yeah, I told him my diet, and he's like, kill the arugula.
If it's green, I don't eat it.
Even his broccoli, I heard, is very bad for you.
Broccoli's horrible.
Broccoli's man-made. It's only 50 years old.
Crazy.
You don't have to trust me, but just don't eat broccoli and spinach. And if you want to have other vegetables, fine. But stay away from spinach and broccoli.
I don't know. Popeye was pretty buff.
Yeah, psyop.
You got to fill up on those grains, those nutrient-dense grains.
I think like a little bit of rice is fine. Potatoes are fine. Some root vegetables are fine. But you want to stay away from things that have got like oxalates in them, like spinach. It's really bad for you.
I love it. Cows are made of food. So the first time I ever met Vinny, I was at a business. We talked about this on the last one. We were trying to schmooze him at some business dinner, and I ordered steak, and he was vegan, and my friend Gil kicked me. He's like, don't order cow. And then now you made a documentary about eating cows. I love it.
Crazy.
So
because what happened to me was this: I was watching the movie Forks Over Knives, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then
Propaganda.
after
Propaganda. They basically convinced me as well that the movie is actually vegan, vegetarian. So I tried it.
So we have two things in common.
Biggest mistake I made in my life, seriously, health-wise. It was so bad for me.
I don't know if you realize this, but I remember I used to tell you about my friend who was like a poker player. That's Marco. So
Okay.
We'll get into that. So when I met Vinny, so we went to a business dinner, and then he didn't want anything to do with the company I was working for, but he came into town. I remember we met at like a mall, and he made a MySpace page, and I was Vinny Lingham's #1 for years on his MySpace because he never touched it after that. Basically my friendship with Vinny has been me asking him for advice, and then him give it in long messages, and then him saying like one word. So I remember we were hanging out, and you were like, tell me if the details of this are right. When you met your wife, were you riding a bike and couch surfing or living in a motel or something?
Well, no, I was working, but she was in high school, and I was 21 and living in Johannesburg. So we weren't living in a very lavish place. It was like a small apartment. When we moved in together, we lived in like an ADU type unit. So we were very, we come from very humble beginnings.
She's Polish, right?
No. She's South African. She's got
Oh, okay.
European heritage. So we're not sure exactly what, but yeah.
Well, I maybe I don't know that story got twisted in my mind. But anyways, you're riding a bike and beautiful girl, whatever. And then he's like, you need to meet a girl like that. And then it couldn't have been more than a couple months later is when I told my friend Gil, I was like, I'm gonna meet my wife tonight. Pushed my friend who was drunk into the car and said, go to Whiskey Sky Bar. I don't know what got into me. We go there. She's coming out the exit. I was riding a bike at the time. Were you riding a bike though? Was that detail there? Man, I must have like told a lie and believed it or something. But anyways, neither one of them were with us for our money, and they're out of our league. So maybe it's not as amazing as I thought it was.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah, really
the main thing I want to do, like, we got like what, 30 minutes total, is like, you've always given me amazing advice. Your advice to me about Bitcoin over the years has made a lot of my friends a lot of money. I told him about Bitcoin through you, and they were like $600. But just like, what do you think is the best way that we can give whoever's watching value in the age of AI, where it's arguably, I don't know if you agree with this, the easiest time in human history to make money?
For an average IQ person to make money.
And then some people say it's like the last chance you get, and it's going to be like the haves and have-nots. And then you got Elon Musk, who's kind of like talking about a utopia where nobody works. So with that, like, what do you think is the best use of this? What advice, since you're the advice guy, would you give people watching this of what to do?
I mean, advice is really hard to give a broad audience because everyone's in a different financial situation. So I hate giving like, oh, you should buy this, you should buy that. Like, I mean, principally, I think everyone should have enough cash to last 12, 12 months plus. Before you start investing in risky things, like try and save up as much cash as possible and have, have a nice buffer of cash because things go wrong and you need cash. And the worst thing is having to sell assets to raise cash, especially in bad times. So I think trying to get 12 months of a cash buffer should be everyone's number one priority before trying to invest. And that means often it means it's cutting costs. Like too many people live with things they don't really need, and then they kind of, live paycheck to paycheck. And if you really look at it, you go, well, do I really need this? Do I really need that subscription? You can cut it down. And so the first thing is make sure that every month that your cash balance is rising, personally, and then that you're saving up enough cash so you don't need to work for 12 months. Those are the first two goals. Once you get there, then start investing in things which I think are good long-term investments and accumulating. For some people, it's Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's had a good run. It's from $400 where we spoke at those days to 70,000 plus right now. Will it still give those sorts of returns? Are you going to get 70,000 going to $1 million? Probably not for the next 10 years or more. So if it ever gets there, like who knows? So I don't think you can rely on Bitcoin as a sort of big multiple. But some people want to own it. That's fine. But I personally don't think it's. I don't think it's like the best investment in terms of return multiples ahead. I think gold is undervalued, even at $5,000. I think it's the world's neutral reserve asset. Central banks are buying it. There's not that much gold in the world. People don't realize it. There's about 8,500 oil tankers in the world, and gold fits in less than 1/10 of the biggest one. So all the gold in the world could only fit less than 1/10 of the world's biggest oil tanker. So gold's actually pretty rare.
That's crazy.
And you need gold to create all these electric cars and other stuff.
Well, I mean, it's an industrial use for gold. I think there's something like whatever. Like one. I think the last I saw was like $500 of gold in some of these GPU cards that are out there. So it is used. Gold is needed, but it's also just a store of value for. It has been for the world for centuries, millennia. So it's how the world tracks currencies against the dollar, maybe. So when you see gold price rising, it's also the dollar's purchasing power is dropping. And there's a bunch of macro, tailwinds right now that makes me believe that gold's going to go to 20,000 in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe 7 in that stretch. So if you're looking at, do I think gold goes up 4x from here? Yeah, with probably less risk than Bitcoin going to 280,000, 300,000. But that's just me. I think gold's a better bet. I think gold can really get up there. Um, so I'm bullish on gold. I mean, you can argue the same for silver. Maybe silver, if you want more sort of more upside, maybe to buy like very. If I had to construct like a future-proof portfolio, I do maybe 85% gold, 15% silver for the precious metal portion of it. And if you want to throw some Bitcoin in there, maybe throw some Bitcoin. But it's like those are the three things I think which people who want to invest in that sort of monetary policy / debasing thesis would want to invest in. I personally just do gold. I think it's just push all. I like having fewer bets than having too many things on the table when it comes to big sort of portfolio bets. So that's kind of my thinking. Yeah.
Well, what I learned about you over the year, I know Nikka, is the fact that you are a visionary for what's happening next, right? And with AI coming like this, and maybe quantum computer one day, what do you think is the security that this quantum computer and AI will know easily, find your password for your wallet, online wallet, and that's it. That those store value, those crypto itself will lose the meaning of it being. Like gold, nobody can touch it physically if you have it in your hand. But if it's in the bank, for example, and you buy gold titles, then one day AI can take it from you.
Yeah. So physical gold, I think, is the best store of value in the world. Then having some sort of crypto, which the rules can be changed. The community can have a consensus change on Bitcoin or anything else. It's not like you try changing the rules of gold. It's physics. It's like God created gold and man created Bitcoin. I have more faith in God than man.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What about poker? I see your head, Poker Hub.
That's a new little small project I'm working on.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And I think the website's it's pokerhub.ai. So if people are into poker, they can go check it out. Pokerhub.ai. And what we do, there's early access. You can still put your email address in, we'll let you know when we give access to people.
100%. That would be one of them.
Yeah. So it's basically it's built for dealers and hosts of games, home games. So it's a leisure tool. So you have your friends that come over every single week and they play, and you play for months on end,
And
and then
if I can follow one on my website to it, my poker site, I own ilimitpoker.com and pokerworld.com. I go to it. I do it for you.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah. Well, once we open up to the public, it'll be great. But we're using it now in all my home games, so we don't have to track like how much when you buy in, you sign on the iPad that you took $1,000, and then you play with it, and you cash out at 1,500, then you have a credit balance of 15, and it'll email you afterwards. Email everyone knows what the balances are, and then once every 6 months or 12 months, you can settle up. You just hit a button, and you'll be we'll have the ability to deposit stable coins. So you can put like your $500 in there, and then it goes. Maybe it gets 200 to Nikka, and 100 to me, and 50 to Buck. It splits it all up. But we're focusing on just getting the ledgering right, so you don't have to move. It's clunky when you go to a game and you have to bring cash worth to go pay. And if people just trust each other, and a lot of games are just based on trust, you just run a ledger and see who owes what, and at the end of the season you just settle up. So that's what the software is for. It's really for helping you manage home games. Even just inviting players and all that stuff, and sending out invites, and eventually like splitting costs. Eventually be able to order from like DoorDash through the app, that sort of thing. That's where we see it going. But at the very least, you use this app to, you can split the dealer costs, you can split the cost of the food that you order, you can do all those sorts of things. So we're trying to make it a management tool for running home games.
Beautiful, crazy good. I like it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you got. I want you guys to get into poker. really quick back to AI. Okay, here's the scenario. Somebody who doesn't have money to invest, but they have enough to get some AI tools. Because, I don't know, how good these products are that are advertised, but, like, oh, you can create an app with, dupe an app or create an app with AI. Like, do you have any opinion on that matter? Like, have you looked into any of that much? Like, what tools you can combine to kind of just get started and maybe build like a following on social media and use that to, we talked that one day about social shopping. Like, that's like a opportunity, or, affiliate marketing,
I mean,
things
there's
like.
tons of opportunities with AI. People are vibe coding apps all the time, building things. I think if you're in you, the best thing you can do is if you're in a job, figure out how to use AI in your job. You'll do things. You'll do the same amount of work faster, more efficiently. You get better reports to your manager. All of a sudden, they look at you and say, "This guy understands AI, and how do we, give him more responsibility? How do you automate the whole organization? Or how do you like automate the department? That sort of thing." I just think adopting AI and using it to automate repetitive tasks or even more qualitative tasks. Like I was chatting to a friend last night who says like they're not going to hire an analyst for their VC fund ever again. They just use AI to do the analysis and produce the reports. So AI is going to disrupt a lot of jobs. If you're not using it, you will be disrupted.
Right now I'm a polysomnographic technologist, which means a sleep technician. And I made just a custom GPT where I loaded all the literature and then our company policy procedures, all that. And because of that, I like saved a 600-pound man's life. Like, if I didn't have that app, I don't know what would have happened, because I use it all the time. Like, I'm, you know, constantly using that to help me with my job, but nothing too crazy yet. Now, I'm I'm not producing music anymore for people because I looked at some cringy message I wrote you in like 2009 about the same album, same title that I'm doing now. And I'm so glad that I waited, because all the AI tools for that are just insane. Like, music is gonna be really crazy. Like, I think music is gonna get to a point. Like, I think anybody who's like a purist doing music who doesn't adopt AI is really gonna get left behind, because AI, you can generate songs with it, or you can do it like the old school way, or you can combine it. And I think that's how you win, when it's a human working with AI. Like, you have the best co-producer in the world. So that's how it can be used in music. That's how I'm going to use it. It's like all the tools that I dreamed of having are like now there, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be incredible. But yeah. So Mark, what was your history with poker? Like, you were like,
Okay, I was just watching Jennifer. I don't know, you probably know Jennifer Harman. I was married with her for many years, and I was just watching for months, maybe years, a couple of years, and asking the right questions. So one day, Daniel Negreanu told me, "Wow, you are always asking the right question. Why don't you try a tournament or two?" And the year I became the guy that make most cashes at the World Series of Poker. So, and turned out that watching the best one is the best thing. Following up with that, I'd like to ask you, is any habit or routine that you have in the morning or daily that you can thank those habits or routine to your success?
Uh, sorry, what?
Like I was always watching Jennifer playing poker, right? And that habit every day make
Oh,
myself become famous. So habit. My English sucks. I just came in America 27 years ago.
besides waking up
Give
and
me
pissing
time.
excellence.
Give me time. What you can thank for your habit or routine daily?
so when I play poker, I think a lot of my success comes from being disciplined about the game. So I try not to be. I mean, you can't be predictable. So you have to, but like being disciplined about certain laydowns and folds, being disciplined about actually calling when you don't want to call, but you know you should. Just the discipline of knowing what you should do in certain situations, and then doing that. Not not always like sometimes you want to listen to your gut, and sometimes you have reasons to do things a little differently. But I think if you are an undisciplined poker player, you will be a loser in the long term because you'll just make erratic decisions. So just being as disciplined as possible is one of the things I can thank for what I've done in poker so far. And but you have to be even when you're disciplined, you have to be unpredictable as well. So that's a key thing.
Do you bring those attributes in your business life too? You follow those rules, or is it a completely different game?
No, I'm in business and in life. I try and be disciplined about things. I stick to who I am and my sort of ethics and moral code. And if things fall outside the area that I'd be willing to feel comfortable in doing, then I don't do it. It's if you make it about the money, you're basically for sale. And if you make it about the money, then it's character. So I try and stick to my character and I don't sell out.
Yeah, I found out that in poker, in business, when you surround yourself with people that are successful, most likely you're gonna be successful too, and that's what happened to me physically. I never thought I was gonna play poker or making money in poker because I kind of hate my father playing when I was a kid because he was like always losing. So I was like, I will never play poker in my life. Then I said, wow, Jennifer can do such a good living with it. Why? And I saw everybody have something in common, and was how they dealt with tilt moment. Because the people that get a bad beat and then they go off, you can tell, those are the live one. And in life too, same thing. When you have a little loss, that's when you can spiral down. And I bring that to business, to poker, to life. So,
Yeah. No, agreed.
and now we have to bring up Nikka, which is on his way. It's gonna be one of the greatest music producer ever. I really believe in him.
I believe in myself. I've been working on an album for 26 years, hoarding all of my songs, made it into a story. It's I don't want to talk too much about it, but look out
It's gonna be
for
beautiful.
Aurora presents Nikka Bling and the Feral Children in the 9th greatest album of all time.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, you have a cringy message from 2009 about this album, and so I went to go start it with the Kevin and Kane Churko. I read Think and Grow Rich, and I said I'm going to work with them. It worked. I got in with them. Lost sight of what I was trying to do. Had some success with that. Blah blah blah, ups and downs, and now I feel like just coming out of the rubble of my life, and oh, it's time to go.
Yeah.
So it's a
No, you always had a passion for it, so it's good to see you keep going.
yeah, man. I worked. I mean, I worked alongside, two of the best guys in the industry, 12 hours a day for years. Then I was on my own, counterproductively working 72-hour shifts. I'm not going to get into how I was able to do that, but
I I like to ask you something that is good for kids right now that are starting university, 19 years old, like my boys, just start the first year. One in California, one in University of San Diego, one in UNM, wherever in Reno. Do you think university is gonna still be a good choice for people to spend money on, or it's just like a
I don't think so.
waste of life?
I think it's a waste of money. I think you can take the university money, put it into an S&P 500 index fund, and leave it there for like 20 years, and it's retirement money. You'll do better than you know. I think if you can afford it and it's not a big cost, then it's fine. I think it's if you're doing it, if you put your kids in university for the purposes of being social and meeting other kids and smart kids and studying, that's fine. If they want to become a doctor or a lawyer or some sort of medical profession, sure, university you need that. That's how the system works. You can't get into the system without going through the system. But if they're entrepreneurs or
Yeah, they've been done. What business they're doing?
or whatever. Yeah. It's
The party are crazy.
sorry.
The party are crazy. Both fraternity are very cool. So they're having a blast.
A lot of women go there to get their MRS, their Mrs. title.
Yeah, I think it's there's always pros and cons to it, but I think the cost of university's gotten so high. I just don't think it's worth it. It's like the government got involved and subsidized things and pushed prices up, and it's gotten to the point now where it's like I just don't see the value of it. I mean, I'm a university dropout. I did 2 years, and I did okay. I don't think you need it.
Yeah, you did good.
Are we going to see you with a little booth that says college is a scam?
It's not a scam. Like, there's some very expensive watches out there that are not worth what you pay for them. But that doesn't make them scams. It's like, if people are like willing to overpay for something, it's not a scam. It's just you're overpaying for it.
Yeah, they'll pick there's some things that I'm just like, what are you going to do with that degree? Have you thought this through?
I always make the example of my brother. He took my diploma because he never finished high school to get his first job, and now he have 80 people that work for him. Most of them have a college degree, and he doesn't even have a real diploma because he's using mine.
Exactly.
This is like crazy.
No, in the age of AI, like there's so many jobs and careers that are going to be disrupted. You have no idea of knowing what's going to go. So here you go and spend, the one thing, if you're looking for a safe career, I think being a lawyer is probably the safest career right now because the lawyers are writing the laws to protect themselves, right? So they're making it so that you can't use AI, and if you use AI, you don't get any privilege in the process, right? So legal privilege. So they, by definition, are protecting their occupation. But everything else, even surgeries, will be performed by machines and robots in the future, right?
Yeah.
So the medical streams in question. So I don't know, guys. I'm a bit skeptical that you need to spend all that money in today's present value money for a degree where you could, let's say, college costs like $500,000 for your kid. You put $500,000 into like the S&P and leave it there for 20 years, and look at what it'll look like in 20 years' time. The kid doesn't need to have a job at that point,
Yeah.
I love that you said that about lawyers because that's what Lennox wants to do, and he's like already like a little lawyer. How are your kids doing?
All good. I actually got to go.
Send.
I hit my mark. Cool. Good chatting to you guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Take care. See ya.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
I take him off. So that was Vinny. Vinny, I just met him for the first time. I heard about him many times. Thanks to Nikka, I got to meet him. Hopefully, I'm going to check on his poker adventure site on AI. And
I had no clue what he was talking with that. It went over my head.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, no, you like it. But it sounds very good, very good, very, very interesting. And if he does it, that means that it's going to be crazy good.
Yeah.
So
There's.
thank you so much. We're going to be back right away. I'm going to save this episode right now, and maybe we're going to keep doing something else. But
Let's make a beat. You got these pads right here.
yeah, do it.